The world is changing fast, like way faster than anyone thought. And guess what? A big part of this change is happening up north in the Arctic. Now you might be wondering, why should I care about what's going on in the Arctic? Well, here's the thing. What happens up there doesn't stay up there. It affects all of us. The ice in the Arctic is melting super fast, and it could change our planet in ways we don't even imagine. It's melting at a crazy rate, disappearing from both above and below. Basically, the Arctic is losing ice twice as fast as it used to back in the 90s. So what does this mean for our planet? Well, lots of stuff. Like one day soon, the Arctic might have no ice left, not just during summer, but all year round. Imagine that. Right now, scientists think that this might happen between 2030 and 2040. And get this year, 2023, was the hottest year ever recorded. People in India died because of the heat. More than 1,000 people. Now let's talk about the most mind-blowing part. You know how when ice melts, it raises sea levels, right? Well, it's not just about the ice melting into the ocean. There's also the whole issue of the ice sheets collapsing. These ice sheets sit on land, and if they fall off, watch out. The water could go up by 60 meters or more. Cities near the coast, places like Jakarta, Bangkok, and Mumbai, which are home to millions of people, could drown. It's like a doomsday scenario, but it's real. We're looking at a major shakeup that could totally change our planet. You know those science shows where they put a bunch of ice cubes in a glass and then pour hot water in, and the ice melts away? Well, imagine something like that happening, but on a much larger scale. When the Arctic ice melts, it won't just be a bit warmer in the Arctic. It'll be a lot warmer, like by 10 degrees Celsius or more. Just imagine the polar bears and all the other animals living there. Their homes will be gone. The whole environment will change. The melting ice could also mess with ocean currents that bring warm water to Europe. Those currents could slow down or even stop. Say goodbye to mild winters in Europe and hello to snowstorms. But wait, there's more. In 2030, researchers predict that the summer ice in the Arctic Ocean might vanish completely. That's never happened before, ever. So basically, the Arctic is going through some serious changes, and it's not your average stuff that happens over many, many years. No, sir, this is happening fast. Like really, really fast. And it's happening because of climate change caused by humans burning too much stuff, like coal and oil. So yeah, it's our fault. Okay, enough of this doom and gloom. Let's talk about a mega project led by a Dutch startup called Arctic Reflections. It's a plan to save the Arctic by freezing it again. That's right, they're pumping salty water onto the ice to make a thick layer of ice. And here's the cool part. This isn't some small-scale experiment. The goal is to freeze a whopping 15.5 million square kilometers of ice. That's an area larger than Canada. And they want to do it in just 6 years. Let me repeat that. This tiny Dutch company wants to refreeze an area bigger than an entire country in just 6 years. But here's the catch. Salt usually melts ice, right? So how are they going to make ice with salt? Well, here's the deal. They're spraying the salt water onto the surface, where it freezes in the cold air, creating a new layer of ice. Think of it like making an ice cube in your freezer at home. Except this is on a much larger scale. Now you might be thinking, isn't the Arctic already freezing? Like it's supposed to be cold up there, right? Well, yes, but it's not freezing enough. The air temperature in the Arctic has been dropping by 0.5 degrees Celsius every decade, but the ocean temperatures have been going up. And since the ocean covers most of the Arctic, it's not freezing as much as it used to. Here's where things get even more interesting. This project is like taking matters into your own hands. It's a way for humans to fix the problem they created in the first place. By putting the ice back, They're kind of resetting the system, giving nature a helping hand. The idea is to start in a place called Svalbard, which is close to the North Pole. Then they'll spread out from there like ripples on the water. If this works, they could turn back the clock on climate change, at least in the Arctic. Now you might be scratching your head wondering, why don't they just use fresh water to freeze the ocean? Well, there are two main reasons. First off, getting fresh water to the Arctic is a logistical nightmare. They need to travel across the ocean, which takes time and energy. And secondly, fresh water doesn't stay frozen as long as salty water does. It breaks up more easily, especially with those pesky ocean currents moving around. But salty water, that stays frozen solid, even in the Arctic. And this is exactly what the team behind this mega project thinks is the best solution. So how exactly are they doing this? Well, they have a fleet of trucks, tractors, and sprayers. Here's how it works. They take salt water from the ocean, mix in the right amount of salt to keep it frozen, pump it up into the air, and spray it onto the surface. One truck can pump about 2,000 litres of water per minute. It sounds like a lot, and it is. But remember, they're aiming to cover a massive area, 15.5 million square kilometres. It's a gigantic challenge. In 2024, they started testing their method on an area of about 250,000 square kilometres. They were able to lower the water temperature by 2 degrees Celsius and generate about 200,000 square kilometres of new ice. In 2025, they plan to scale it up by 10 times. Now let's talk numbers. As of right now, the Arctic has lost around half of its summer ice since 1971. Without any action, the whole Arctic Ocean could be ice-free by 2040. But with this mega project, they're hoping to make a dent in that. They're projecting that by 2030, they can still have 15% of the Arctic covered in ice. And by 2040, they'd like to maintain about 50% ice coverage. Let's think about the big picture here. When the Arctic ice disappears, it could be really bad for the whole world. We're talking about extreme weather, higher sea levels, and a lot more heat. And it's not just about the ice melting. It's also about the permafrost thawing. That's the permanently frozen ground under the Arctic. When it thaws, all sorts of crazy gases come out, like methane and carbon dioxide. These gases have been trapped under the ground for ages, but now they're starting to come out. So let's sum it up. What's happening in the Arctic is a big deal. It's affecting the weather everywhere, and it's changing the whole environment up there. The ice is melting faster than expected, and that's causing some serious issues. Melting ice means rising sea levels, which could flood coastal cities. And when the ice goes away completely, the planet could get way warmer. And that's just the beginning. There are all sorts of other problems that come with a melting Arctic. But there is hope. This Dutch company has a plan to fix the issue they caused in the first place, putting the ice back. This mega project is a huge undertaking, but if it works, it could be a game changer. We're talking about freezing a massive area of the ocean with salt water and creating a thick layer of ice. It's a bold idea, but it might just be what's needed to save the Arctic. I know it sounds a bit unreal, but this is happening. It's happening right now. The world is changing quickly, and we need to pay attention. The Arctic is sending us a message, and it's up to us to listen. What happens in the Arctic doesn't stay in the Arctic. It affects all of us. But we're not helpless. We can take action. We can come up with innovative solutions, and we can make a difference. This Dutch company is showing us that we can turn things around. We can't just stand by and watch as the ice melts away. We need to do something about it. What do you think? Should this project be supported, or are they wasting their time? It's a big question, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Remember, what happens in the Arctic doesn't stay in the Arctic. It affects all of us, and it's up to us to take action and make a difference. Thanks for watching.